Hi, I'm Patrick Weinert, founder of The Money Mission, and I help people like you achieve success with your finances so you can lead a more fulfilling life. In this video, we're going to follow up on the topic that we covered in our last video, which was budgeting, but this time we're going to go into more detail. We're going to talk about balancing paying off debt by saving and investing for the future. As we talked about in the last video, I had the privilege and honor of serving in our armed forces for a number of years, and during that time I was asked to take on the responsibility of managing the Marine Corps' budget. Fortunately, we had a great deal of success, my team and I, in managing that budget. And one of the lessons that we drew from it was balancing paying near-term bills versus making long-term investments. And that's what I want to talk with you today about in a little bit of detail. One of the things that's important is when you have a personal budget and you've taken on the responsibility of actually budgeting your money, which I encouraged you to do in our last video, you're going to have essentially two priorities. Should I pay off debt if I have debt? Or should I invest any savings that I have, any additional money I have, in investments for the future? And that depends on a number of variables. One of them is, what are your goals and what are the interest rates of your debts? As a rule of thumb, most stock market investments do about 9 to 10% return per year. So if you have an interest rate that is lower than that on debts that you owe, some examples might be student loan debts or mortgage loans, then you probably are smarter at hanging on to that debt and investing the money versus paying off the debt first. If you have a lot of credit card debt that has, in some cases, double-digit interest rates, maybe as high as 20%, then I would recommend you pay off that consumer debt first. So high-interest credit card debt and high-interest consumer debt, pay that off. Lower interest debt you can hang on to, but you need to have a plan in order to pay it off. You don't just want to be paying the interest, or even worse, not paying the interest, and it accumulates over time and the debt gets bigger. And once you have that money budgeted, what I want you to do is I want you to look at some very simple ways to save. So if we've made the priority to invest and maybe not pay off that debt, maybe that debt is, a 3% mortgage rate or a 4% student loan that you can, pay off over a long period of time and the rate isn't that high, then you can look at taking some of that savings and putting it towards your real financial goals. Two funds that I'm going to recommend are from Fidelity and from Vanguard. And the reason I bring this up is because these are good long-term investment funds. The first one is called the Fidelity Zero Large Cap Index Fund. And the reason why this is great is it invests in the Standard & Poor's 500 index, right? 500 of the largest companies in the United States market, and it invests them at a 0% expense ratio. What that means is you don't pay any expenses. They do such a large amount of business that the total costs of the trades cost you virtually nothing. That is a great expense ratio, 0. The second one is called the Vanguard Total International Stock Index Fund. So while I do recommend you have a good amount of your money invested in US stocks, it is also a good idea to diversify into other countries too. And the Vanguard International Total Stock Index Fund does that very thing for you. And it does it at a very low expense ratio. Their expense ratio is close to 0.1%. That means for every $1,000 that you have invested, it's only costing you $1.10 per year. Those are both examples of great large capitalization, right? Large company index funds. And we say index, it's many, many different companies, right? So you're not putting all your risk into one business. You're spreading it over hundreds and maybe even thousands of businesses. The point here being that those are good examples of large index funds to invest in for the long term. If you have goals that are a little bit shorter term, then I would put it into a high yield savings account. One example is from an online bank called Synchrony. Synchrony.com is the website where you can find access to applying for a high yield savings account. There are some restrictions to these accounts, like as you can only make so many withdrawals in a given period of time. But the point is that if you're saving this money for a goal, like you want to buy your dream home or you want to take a great vacation, a rate that a high yield savings account pays today, like around 2%, is much higher than what you get putting your money in a standard savings account at your bank. So first, explore what the options are at your bank, and then if they don't work or if they aren't that high, look at an online bank like Synchrony as an option, either to put money in for the short term, for those short-term goals, or even to put your emergency fund in if you're saving an emergency fund, which I always recommend. Look, I'm really excited about helping get you to your financial goals. Just recently, this week, I had the privilege of helping a friend of mine sell her business, and she sold it for $10,000 more than what she thought she could get for it. And this was all just based on less than an hour of conversation and some very simple advice I gave her. I really believe that good, solid advice, if we take it and we really apply it, is going to get us to our financial goals very fast. I mean, how would it feel to you if you didn't have to stress or worry about money anymore? If you knew that you would achieve financial independence, right? You didn't have to work anymore if you didn't want to. I want to help you achieve that goal. I want to help you achieve early retirement if that's your goal. In our next video, we're going to delve into more detail when it comes to saving and investing. We're going to give you a little bit more tips and tricks to help you maximize the return on that savings. Please post a question, a comment, like this video, send me an email. I'm really interested in hearing your thoughts, your feedback, your own personal situation, because I want to answer those questions first and foremost. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and until next time, I wish you unlimited success.